Currently, many problems, ranging from corruption to rising sea levels, have created a world that has multiple pressing crises. More specifically, the problem stems and relates to one key problem that must first be addressed: lagging public infrastructure. There is a sharp contrast that a single street can have, and the New York subways remind me of America's lagging infrastructure, which has not only stood unchanged for decades, but is apparent in the rest of the world as well, which is only worsened by corruption. By addressing these key problems, the poly-crisis world can be fixed one step at a time. Currently, only a third of young people are optimistic about the future of our society, indicating a dire need for unprecedented interdisciplinary change and action. The Council on Foreign Relations estimated that there is an infrastructure investment gap of nearly $2.6 trillion this decade that, if unaddressed, could cost the United States $10 trillion in lost gross domestic product, GDP, by 2039. Next, public investment in U.S. infrastructure as a share of GDP has fallen by more than 40% since the 1960s. Furthermore, by 2030, irreversible damage will be done to the environment if we do not act fast. This situation needs to be turned around. With the United States facing a record-high debt ceiling and unprecedented problems, public infrastructure, misinformation, and food insecurity still permeate throughout society, which causes a net negative for everyone. For example, American subways are still far behind everyone else, and city infrastructure is decrepit. We are ranked 13th in the world in infrastructure. We rank higher in corruption compared to 26 other developed countries. Realizing this as a growing issue, the founder wishes to jumpstart action to ensure his project design matches current world expectations and reality. He was invited to UN ECOSOC Youth Forum Week in New York, where he learned about Ban Ki-moon's new projects and initiatives like the Your Future in Green Jobs program, built a team through meeting like-minded youth involved in the 17 UN SDGs, connected with youth leaders nationally as well as from the global south, to find out ways to expand the outreach of each other's SDG projects. To pave the way for a stronger foundation in public development, intergenerational and collective action is required, ready to make an impact. The founder and his team launched Ascend Agency with the belief that a better tomorrow starts with sound public development today, through its 7 A's of advancement of framework, which consists of the following elements: audience, understanding what demographics should be targeted and why both the company and the intended demographics benefit from the business; advantages, investigating what enables the company to stand out and beat the competition now and in the future; agents, researching the workers, representatives, and skill sets that need to be sought out for the company to operate and flourish; analytics, analyzing what is the reason certain business decisions should be made, and whether is there a pragmatic reason behind the choice; accountability, holding themselves to a moral standard that avoids creating or worsening issues that ultimately hurt people, profit, and the planet; ambition, realizing what it is that ultimately drives the company forward. That is, what is the business's overarching goal; assets, ascertaining what the business needs in items, time, etc., in order to continue to operate and move forward. Through video cast series and working directly with companies, the framework can be used to analyze the current problems in the status quo and make recommendations. Outcomes: Ascend Agency aims to work with different companies and on social media platforms to communicate our framework to the public. The first pilot will take place at UN World Oceans Day, where the founder will apply the 7 A's of Advancement framework to recommend sounder infrastructural development in coastal cities. In fact, according to the Center for American Progress, ocean-based infrastructure has the potential to provide up to 1/5 of the reductions in greenhouse gas (GHG) emissions needed globally to limit the world's temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius, which scientists say is necessary in order to lower the risks associated with climate change. Looking ahead, the organization seeks to engage 500 youth from 25 plus countries and localize 10 plus solutions over the next 3 years. Join us to co-design toward a better and brighter future in public development.
Introducing the fourth A of the 7 A's of advancement, with the goal of progressing both SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, as well as SDG 14, Life Below Water. So what's the fourth A of the 7 A's of advancement? It's analytics, analyzing what is the reason behind certain business decisions and whether there is a pragmatic reason behind that choice. But what does the best usage of the fourth A look like in the real world? The best example of a focus on the audience when it comes to sustainable infrastructure is ICOM, an infrastructure consulting company founded in 1910, which has an entire division of its business focused on environmental services. Within this division of ICOM, many examples demonstrate and prove the effectiveness of analytics, the fourth A of the 7 A's of advancements, combined with data science. As an infrastructure consulting company, the analytics they develop not only influence their company, but also their clients as well. There are 3 key ways ICOM demonstrates the impact that the fourth A of the 7 A's advancements can have. To begin, ICOM provides geospatial services to analyze potential sites for infrastructure projects. This includes assessing factors like flood risk, ecological sensitivity, and proximity to transportation/other infrastructure. To better analyze the geospatial situation of an area, ICOM employs the following to better employ analytics: building information modeling, GIS data creation and analysis, database design and maintenance, and remote sensing and topographic data collection. By focusing on the analytics within the 7 A's of advancement, ICOM not only can focus on protecting sustainable infrastructure from geographic challenges, but also ensures that its decisions are the very best the firm can choose, given the data it was able to collect. Second, ICOM has worked closely with clients and partners to develop the Sustainable Legacies initiatives. As part of this initiative, ICOM, as an infrastructure consulting company, noticed a severe lack of adequate tools that were able to assess ways to reduce carbon emissions during construction and the refurbishing of buildings. The current tools on the market, like Carbon Designer and Eco Calculator, were limited to early phase modeling, and other tools like EC3 were built on data that was not standardized and updated irregularly. Using a lot of data from life cycle and assessments, ICOM has developed ScopeX, an embodied carbon assessment tool with, quote, the intention of helping architects and engineers understand the carbon impact of their projects, allowing clients to identify where reductions in embodied emissions can be achieved. This tool is a prime example of analytics because ScopeX allows pragmatic decisions to be made with the end goal of a more sustainable infrastructure and environment. ICOM believes that this tool will not only allow the company to pursue a 50% reduction in carbon emissions for major planning, design, construction, and operation and maintenance projects, but also net zero emissions by 2040. ScopeX was the first up-to-date, efficient, and accurate tool that really allowed actionable steps towards carbon reduction to be taken. Finally, ICOM's online infrastructure division, Digital ICOM, uses the fourth A in the 7 A's advancements in the water industry as well. Digital ICOM believes that their current suite of tools, ICOM Assessor, Infoset Manager, Infoset Planner, Pipe Insights, needs improvement, meaning that they need more and better data to further fine-tune their tools, with the ultimate end goal of enabling spending for maximum strategic environmental returns and flag the need for improvements and upgrades before failure happens. The more data that Digital ICOM is able to get its hands on, the better the analytics ICOM can use to make the best decision of when to supply water for optimal energy efficiency. ICOM's emphasis on analytics serves as an example on how data-driven insights may revolutionize sustainable infrastructure planning and design. through the use of data in all phases of the process, from material selection to energy modeling to site selection. IACOM is paving the way for a future that is more livable, efficient, and resilient for all. As we're more than halfway through the 7A's advancement, I heavily urge you all to act with the 7A's advancement framework if you have not done so already. This framework and the companies that represent each A serve as a prime example in building a better tomorrow.